Okay, I'll begin. Yeah. So I'll just recall what we did in the last class. We introduced this notion of a module, and this is typically and the example we showed was a stack. Okay, so a stack is a general purpose data structure, and it is a, you all recall what a stack is, I assume. So it is like a list. You add elements to the front and you remove elements from the front, except the front is instead called top now. Okay, so you add elements to the top of the stack, you remove elements from the top of the stack. Adding the element is called push. Okay, removing the element from the top is called pop. So push is adding an element, pop is removing an element. Top is just giving you the value at the very top without removing. Okay, this is the thing. Removes the top element. Whereas top will just returns the top element without removing. Okay, so that's the distinction between top and pop. And then you have some other functions, like you can build a stack from a list, and you can build an empty stack. You can check whether a stack is empty or not. And you use it using the new type declaration. New type recall is like data, except that you have a single data constructor and a single argument for that. Okay, in that case you use new type. Here we just represent a stack as just a list, except we put a tag around it. We put a box around it. The box is named stack. Okay, but of course when you are using new type at runtime, you don't even put the box. That's fine. So push is a function that takes an element of type A and pushes it onto the stack, which stores elements of type A and returns a new stack. Pop will take a stack and then it will remove the, the input to pop is a stack, and it will return a pair which consists of the top element and the stack after the top element is removed. Okay, top will just return the top element. From list will convert a list to a stack. Empty will create an empty stack. Is empty will check whether a stack is empty or not. Okay, so this is all standard. Here are the implementations. If you want to push an element n on the stack itself, this is the pattern that denotes a stack. This is the general pattern for a stack. Okay. For a value of type stack. Okay, fine. So you just your stack input is of the form stack x's. You form a new stack by saying stack n colon x's. Okay, and then if you want to pop from the empty stack, you will return an error saying empty stack. If you want to pop from a non-empty stack, you will return the top element and you will return the tail of the original stack. Okay, and yeah, top and then the top element in an empty stack is error again. Top element in a non-empty stack is just x, and so on. From list of x's should be just stack of x's. Instead, we'll write it concisely as from list equals stack. Empty is the stack of empty list. Is empty stack of x's checks whether x's is null or not. Okay, this is all standard. And then we also had some way of showing a stack. It's not too important. It is just one more layer where you hide the internal representation. Sometimes you just want it to be, sometimes you just write stack and followed with a list, that is fine enough. But maybe in certain more complicated data structures you have, you might want to hide the internal representation and show it in a better manner. We'll see another data structure in this class, namely Q, where you will definitely hide the internal representation. Okay. Okay. So, but before I go to Q, we were looking at this postfix expression in the last class. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to write proper slides for that. I'm halfway through it, so I'll just I'll just draw those things by hand, and then I'll fill those things in the slides and upload it to the Moodle page. Okay. So that's a nice application. So I would like to show it to you. Yeah.
Sir?
Yes, yes, please.
Oh, sorry. No, like before you go to queue, I have a doubt.
Yes, please.
Last
I'm
time,
going to now. I'll do this postfix thing, but yes,
oh yeah,
please
after
ask
that.
your doubt. Yes.
That's all. I mean, I'll say after that.
Yeah, please tell me, tell me.
So last class, when you compile LEC22 like on GHCI, it
Hmm.
compiled both stack.hs and like the
Right, because I imported stack.hes in like 22. So whenever you import something, it will compile whatever you import also.
yeah, and then after that, when you wrote stack on it, it showed some error, right? But then when you wrote stk1, it
Hmm.
printed out stack 0, 1, 2, 3 all the way to 99, right?
I don't remember at what level it gave an error. What error was it?
You said something about how value constructors are not.
Yes, value constructor will not be right. Right, that is right. When I printed SPK, it showed stack 0, 1. It will print. No, you see, the point is that you cannot use a value constructor in the program. Okay,
Okay.
but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that the name of the value constructor won't be used in output, etc., etc.
Okay, so
When
like
you
you can't
print
use it explicitly, but if it's there in the
yeah, if it is
uh,
there as part of the show, then it will be printed out, which is why I had another show which did not use that word stack at all, right? It will put 1 arrow, 2 arrow, 3 arrow.
okay, yeah, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so you cannot use it explicitly, but you cannot prevent some print or whatever from writing it from using that
Yeah,
the
so thanks.
name of the value constructor. Okay, good, good, good. So keep the questions coming. Don't hesitate. Okay, so now we are looking at this postfix expressions example. So before I move to postfix expressions, let me just look at expressions. So expressions, we are considering arithmetic expressions of this form: 3 plus 5 by 2, 3 plus 5 into 2, 4 by 6 into 4, etc., etc. So now you see that for certain of these expressions, I had to use parentheses, and for certain of these I did not have to use. Why? This is just basic school arithmetic. You know that you do, yeah, you know that you do multiplication first always, then you do addition, etc. Okay, so that is, this notion is called precedence. It is there in Haskell also, right? We have seen it multiple times. If you do some fx plus something, some list, I mean, you have to wonder whether fx happens first or the plus happens first. Okay, in this case, fx happens first. So if you want the f to apply to x plus plus list, you will have to say f of, right? So in order to enforce precedence, you have to use parentheses, right? And why does this happen? This happens because we are writing all these expressions linearly. This happens because expressions are written linearly, means one dimensionally. So you have a line of text, you write from left to right. Okay, and that is how you know how to write expressions. But actually, in actuality, these are expressions are better represented with more structure. I mean, you can make the structure in the expressions more explicit. For instance, if it is 3 plus 5 into 2, you can write it like this. Okay, it is the plus of two expressions. Okay, and the first expression is 3. The other expression itself is a expression with structure. It is the multiplication of two expressions, which is 5 and 2. Whereas your this is doing the multiplication first. Whereas if you want to do the plus first and then the multiplication, you would have written it this way. Okay, and it is to represent this particular structure that you write parenthesis sometimes and don't write parenthesis sometimes. Okay, is this clear? Is this point clear? Right? Technically speaking, you would have to write this as 3 plus 5 into 2, put parenthesis around also. This will be 3 plus 5. If you want to fully parenthesis the expressions, you will write it like this. So you can either use parenthesis to denote the structure, or if you want to be more explicit, you can write it like this, okay, in this tree form. So these are called trees because it's like a tree, it's like a tree inverted. A tree will have a root and then it will branch off, okay. In computer science, usually you will write the tree with the root at the very top. This is the root. This is a tree. Let me change color. This whole thing is a tree. This is a root, okay, and these are all branches, but in computer science you typically call these things nodes, okay. These are nodes, and there are things which do not branch off after that. Those are called leaves. Okay. These things are leaves. Is it clear? So you have a tree. You in computer science you always write trees in the inverted form. The root is on top, and then there will be branching off, like just like a tree branches off. At the very end, where there is no branching off beyond that, those will be the leaves, and the internal places where the branching off happens, they are called nodes. Okay, and the topmost thing is the root. Okay, so really expressions have a tree-like structure. So now, how do you represent trees in Haskell? Yes, Samitinjay, do you have a question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, the nodes always contain operations, right?
In this case, yes.
I mean, in general, can it?
In general,
contain...
you can have multiple. Trees are just a very general represent. Trees are just like stack or list or whatever. You can use a tree to represent anything. In this instance, we are using trees to represent expressions, arithmetic expressions.
Oh, okay.
In our example, the nodes contain arithmetic operators. Is it clear?
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you think you can represent a tree in Haskell using data? So let us not go to a general tree. Let us look at expressions. Okay. So firstly, I would like to say that I have a data operation. Let me use a different. Is this color okay enough? Yeah. Data op is either add or subtract or multiply or divide. Okay. And I don't know. So, okay. And what else? No, I might want a show for this. Instance show of where I want to show it properly. So show of add is nothing but plus. Show of sub is nothing but minus, etc. Okay, fine. So that's a minor thing. So yes, so you have these are operations. Okay, and now sorry, I will create a new page. I'll add a page. Okay, now expression. So how do you think I can represent expressions? Okay, an expression is either a leaf or a node. A node is where there is branching that is happening. At the leaf level, what do you store? So that's it. So you have two constructors. Call one a leaf. One constructor we call it leaf. Another constructor we call it node. Let us say. Okay. At the leaf level, what do you store? If you recall. So here is an example expression. At the leaf level, what do you store?
A number.
A number. So let's call it leaf int. Or at a node branches off, right? So what all information do you need to record about a node? Node has an operator occurring in it. But there are two other things also. What are the two other things?
So branching occurs.
Right, there is a branching, right? So there is one sub expression, another sub expression. So you can think of it as left sub expression, right sub expression, because even in an operator, if you write, there is one argument to the left and one argument to the right. So, but what are those? What is the left sub expression? That itself is an expression, right? So node exp op exp. See, so this is very, very important. Let me highlight it with some other color. What is special with X that we have not seen till now with stack or whatever? Or our day or whatever? Recursive, yes. So you can, this is very, very natural, right? So an expression is either the sum of two expressions or the product of two other expressions, or the one expression divided by another, or just a number. Okay, so this is a recursive definition. Just like you can define recursive functions, you can define data also recursively like this. So recursive. Okay, this is important. Great. So this is how you can represent an expression. Okay. So now once you have an expression, you can print it out in any number of ways. How do you, so if you just said data, all this deriving, let's say EQ show, and if you try to print the expression, it will all be some confused mess. Let me show you how. Okay. Let me just go to code now. You have stack.hs, but I will go to like 23. That's the in fact, all this is there already in this postfix, but anyway. So yeah, so I can say data operations equals add or subtract or multiply or divide, deriving, let's say EQ. Okay, instance show of where show of add equals plus show of sum. So multiply equals star. Show of div equals slash. Okay, fine. Now I can also define expressions. Either it's a leaf which stores an integer, or it's a node which has two sub expressions, a left sub expression, an operator, and a right sub expression. Okay, and let me say deriving EQ. Now I want to show an expression. Okay, suppose I don't do this, I just say EQ show. Okay, fine. Let me save this. Let me go here and no. Okay, so I need it. How do I write expressions? I mean, how do I? So give me an example of an expression. How do I write it? It's recursive, right? So at the lowermost level, it will be leaves, but otherwise it will be operations. How do I write 3 plus 5 into 2? Can somebody tell? So please, if you want to ask something, yes, I will give you an assignment on stacks and also IO for practice. Yes, sure. Root is also actually a node. That is very right. Correct. So now, can somebody tell me, give me expression 1 I want to say for 3 plus 5 into 2. Can somebody give me that?
So exp leaf.
What is exp? I shouldn't say exp, no. I should use the value constructors. The value constructors are node and leaf. That's all.
Okay, so then node leaf 3.
Node, but within parenthesis. Node within parenthesis leaf 3. Then, what is the op?
It's plus. So sum.
Add. Yeah, and then
another node.
Node
of 5.
No,
leaf 5.
Not 5. Leaf 5, right.
And then multiply. Leaf 2.
Okay, great. Can somebody else? Give me 3 plus 5 within parenthesis times 2. Srimati, would you like to try?
So what 3 plus
3
5
plus
into
5 times 2. 3 plus 5 should be done first.
so the root is into like multiply. So you'll have node.
Ah. You can fill it in later. So node, the root is multiply, right? So just write that
Yeah.
first. Okay. So you have two subtrees. Now go and fill in the left subtree. Left subtree is 3 plus 5. So now what will this be? Node.
Also, just a second. Node.
Again, do the same thing. Put some empty thing. Add.
Add leaf 5. I mean, so node leaf 3, add leaf 5.
Yes. We'll fill in that thing also. Yes.
Yeah, and then for the multiply thing, after that it'll be 2, right? Leaf 2.
Right. Exactly. So do you understand now the structure?
Yeah.
Does everybody understand? Okay, great. This is how you give expressions. Now,
So should there be another bracket? No, sir,
why do you think there should be another bracket?
No, I thought there would be a bracket for all of the three arguments.
No, I mean you can put a bracket around the whole expression, but that's unnecessary. Okay, great. So now I can actually go here. I can start GHCI. I can load lecture 23. I hope you can see all this reasonably clearly. Lecture 23. Okay, now I can ask it to print x1. It is printing some nonsense like this. I mean, it is just printing it is the default print. Okay, so because you just said show. How do you give a better show function? It would be nice if it actually printed out the expression itself, right? So for that, instance show exp, where I need to now define the small s show. Okay. Right. So I will follow a very naive scheme. So what if your tree, again pattern matching. So show of leaf n, what should I print out? In case it is just a leaf?
N.
N. And how do you say that? I need to show, remember, converts data value to a string.
So show n.
Return.
Show n, very nice, because integer itself has its own show function, right? So just say show n. That will convert an integer to string. Okay. What if it is show node expression to the left, operation expression to the right? Okay. Or I can call it arg1 operation arg2. Now what do you do?
Show expression 1, operation expression 2.
What do you mean by that?
Sir, I mean, it evaluates the expression 1.
Why should you evaluate it? I'm just trying to show it.
Show exp1 plus plus show op plus plus show exp2.
Right. But now if I do this, okay, let's just do that. Okay. I will perhaps leave a space. Show op. Again, leave a space. Okay, great. Save this. Do you see? You write very simple recursive functions, just like you write recursive functions on lists. You can write recursive functions on expressions. Show your first example. Show is your first example. But now, if I say expression 1, hey, what happened? Stack overflow. Right? Sorry.
Sir, I think in the definition for show, it's expl.
the definition for show it is?
Sir, I think it's EXPL instead of EXP1 there, sir. Like
Oh,
node
I've written
EXPL.
one. Okay. 1 and 2. Okay. My mistake. Yeah. Oh, it is trying to print EXP1. That is right. That is sorry. My mistake. Yes. L and 1 look the same in this one. Expression to the left and expression to the right. I will call it that. Thank you.
Sir, will a bracket be there in this case?
One second. Let us first look at what will happen if you do this. Let me reload and let me just say expression 1. Okay, it is printing 3 plus 5 into 2. What about expression 2? It's printing the same thing. I mean, you don't see the difference at all between the first and the second. But you ought to see the difference, right? Now, how do you fix it?
So you can put brackets around EXP, like show EXP1 and show EXP2.
Oh,
Like,
you want to
you
put
can
brackets,
put brackets around the whole-
the whole thing. I'll put brackets around the whole thing.
Print brackets around it, huh?
Yeah. Where is the... Okay, so I'll first put parenthesis, and at the end also I'll put the parenthesis. Okay, great. So this will still print more parentheses than necessary, but at least it will help you disambiguate stuff. I can't clear, unfortunately. Doesn't work. That's okay. Yes. So now if I print, you are able to see it, right? Clearly. Expression 1 is, see now 3 plus 5 times 2, 5 times 2 is bracketed. Expression 2, when you try to print out, it will put parentheses around 3 plus 5 and then it will do the star 2. Is it clear? Yes.
Yes.
Now,
Sir,
can we do it conditionally based on op? Like in the pattern matching, can we include a guard where op is add or add is or it's null so that we determine whether to print the brackets?
But it's not so easy as that. Okay, I will towards the end. At the end, if we have time, I will go through that. Okay, you have to work with based on the precedence for that. I'll come to that at the end. Okay, right now this is fine. Okay.
I see.
I don't want to complicate matters right now because I have other more important material to cover. Towards the end, we will come to that. Okay, optimizing on how many parentheses to print, etc., to make it better. That's fine. But at least this reveals the structure. Now, once you have this expression structure, various things are very, very easy. Now, how do you evaluate an expression? Let's say eval. It's a function from expression to int. Again, pattern matching. What is the value of leaf n?
N.
It is just n. Yeah. What is the value of node expression to the left, op expression to the right? Okay. For this, we might actually, for every operand, for every value of type op, you want to associate a function with it. So let us do that right here. So we'll call it op to func or whatever. It takes an op and it returns a binary function. Int arrow, int arrow, int. So op to func of add is just addition. Right. Op to func of subtraction is just the minus operator. Op to func of null is the star operator. This is div because integers, right? So you have to work with div. Okay. So we have all this ready. Now, how do you write? So now, what is evaluation of? You have this node expl operation expr. So now, how do you? What do you do
Sir,
now?
you should give backticks on the div, right?
I don't need to. Div is a unary. Div is a function. I am giving parentheses because I want to consider all these as functions, right? Div itself is a function. So which it's used in prefix form. Div mn you say.
Oh, okay.
Recall that we'll put the backticks around div if you want to use it in the
Middle.
infix form. But I am not
Yes.
trying to do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay. Now how do you do this? Simple, right? So if you have two sub expressions, evaluate the sub expressions first and then apply the whatever
Sir, op to func of.
op to func of f op applied on eval expression to the left and eval of expression to the right. Great, that's it. So now, yes, so that's it. That's what we have. So I can reload again. I can say what exp1 is. It's 3 plus 5 into 2. Eval exp1 is, what should it be? 13. Yes, that is correct. Exp2 is 3 plus 5 into 2. Eval x2 should be 16. Right? Is it clear? Now, once you have this, you are doing all this. But there is a problem still. Suppose I want to give inputs to my, suppose I want to give inputs, expression 1, expression 2, already you see how difficult it was to define this. I mean, difficult meaning it is painful to write, right? You have to write node, leave, give, etc., etc., this whole thing. Okay. Ideally, what you would want to do is write 3 plus 5 into 2 and then automatically somehow convert that into an expression structure like this and then evaluate it. Right? So let me go back to the slides and tell you what I mean. That's fine, but it's difficult to write things like, 3 plus 5 into 2, 3 plus 5 into 2, ... things like this, and transform them to, those nodes. Node, leaf 3, add leaf 5, leaf 5. Okay, ideally you would like something to, some function to somehow read these strings and transform them to that. This problem is called parsing. Okay, this is an important problem in computer science in general, but I mean, we will not be looking at it's not some beginner programming. If you are interested, you will learn it down the line. Okay, so this problem is called parsing. To parse something means to read something and make sense of it. Okay, and earliest, by the way, the earliest theory of parsing was developed by Panini. Okay, so Panini developed Sanskrit grammar, and the earliest some sort of formal treatment of parsing was done by Panini, and so on. So if you are interested, you will learn more about parsing in your own time. If you want to talk about it, you can talk to me about it in your whenever you want. Okay, but that's a harder problem. Okay, because you read, the point is that you are reading 3 plus, and then you don't know what else comes later, and you don't know whether to, the moment you read 3, you don't know whether to determine the structure to be node leaf 3 or node leaf 3, etc. You don't know how deeply embedded it is, etc., etc. It's a hard problem. I'll leave it at that. Okay, an easier problem is what I'm going to describe next. Sorry. Okay, this is also parsing, but it's a much simpler parsing. I'll tell you how. So one can, instead of printing out an so rather than writing all this, let me write currently shows as so you put some parentheses, and then you do this, and then you say show expression to the left, and then you give a space. Okay, so ignore the parentheses and so on. So the main point is you are displaying the operation in between the two in between the two arguments. Okay, this is not the only choice. You could display the operation before the two arguments, or you can display the operation after the two arguments. Okay, so if you choose that, so that is called postfix. Infix means you are putting the operation inside. Prefix means you are putting the operation before, the operation is put before the arguments. Postfix means the operation appears after the two arguments. Okay, so I can say postfix of an expression. Right, rather than write this, I'll actually go to the code and write it. And maybe I should call it a better name. Post. Okay, so I have one post. I can say show post, let me call it. Okay. Okay, that's also just a simple recursive function, just like your earlier show and your eval, etc. So show post of leaf n is nothing but show n. Show post of node expression to the left, op expression to the right is show post expression on the left followed by show post expression on the right. So I need to have a space between the two. So I'll just put a and then I'll write the another space, and then I'll write the. I'll show the operation. Note that I am not writing parenthesis, and you will see why. Let me reload this. So let me show post expression 1. Recall expression 1 is this 3 plus 5 into 2. Okay. So if I show post expression 1, that is 352 star plus. Okay. Because I am writing the operation after the two arguments. The operation is plus. It's two arguments, as you will see if you look at this, is 3 and then 5 times 2. Okay. And 5 times 2 itself is written by 5 2 star. Okay. But if I do the show post expression 2, you will see that it is different. Okay, it is 3 5 plus, means do 3 plus 5, then 2 star, meaning do star of 3 plus 5 and 2. Is it clear? So even without parenthesis, I am able to distinguish between these two expressions. Okay, 3 plus 5 into 2 and 3 plus 5 into 2. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So, right. So this is the point. So I can show it in the postfix form, in which case it is automatically unambiguous without writing parentheses, etc. Now the point is, from the postfix form, you can easily convert it to an expression. Okay, this is the real point. How do you do that? Okay, that is where we use stack. Okay, let me get back here. So two expression, let me call it. It shouldn't be strings, it should be a string of tokens or whatever. Okay, so now in a postfix expression it's a string, but I don't want to muck around with strings, etc. So I will treat it as one of two possible values. It's either a number or it is a operation. Okay, so for that I need to define certain things. I will define it to be token. Okay, token is just one unit. You can think of it as a unit of processing. So typically in this kind of in the parsing literature, etc., it's called token. And it's either a number or an operation, right? So thankfully Haskell offers this thing called either int op. Okay, so if you go and check the information for either, so you will see that either AB it's just another data. It's like data either AB is nothing but either left A or right B. Okay, left and right are the names of the two value constructors there. Okay, and the type constructor is either, and it takes two types as arguments. Okay, so you can have either int bool, either bool char, either this or that, whatever you can have, whatever. So in which case you need a tag to distinguish between whether it is the of these two types, whether it is the left type or the right type, and that you just use left and right as the tags. Okay, so values are all of the form. So values of, for instance, values of either int bool or are of the form left n, where n is of type integer, or right b. So quick question, how many, so recall that we have defined day to be those things, right? So how many values will there be in either day bool? How many values?
14.
Why 14? Even I thought 14 initially. 9, right? Because it's either a day, which is 7, or it's a bool, which is 2.
Okay, okay.
Right? Okay. Day bool will have 14 values. The pair day comma bool will have 14. Okay. Anyway, that's fine. So either is this. So when you do pattern matching on value of type either, the two patterns will be left something and then right something. Okay. Fine. So now we have defined token to be either in top. Okay. And we'll show how to, suppose somehow you have transformed your input to a list of tokens, let us say. We'll show how to convert that to an expression. 2x list of token to x. Okay. And here is where you need to use stacks. Okay. And the idea is as follows. So when you have 3, 5, 2 star plus. Okay. So if you convert this to a list of tokens, you will have left 3, left 5, left 2, right null, right add. Okay. And the way you do it is start with a stack of expressions, initially empty. The moment you see an integer, the moment you see anything, right, the moment you see an integer, a value of the form left 3, what you will put, your stack will be a stack of expressions. This is a stack of expressions. So the moment you see left 3, you tentatively say that, okay, this is a tree with a single, the whole tree is just the leaf. Okay, because you have just seen the number. The numbers go at the leaves. So what expression will you put in the stack? Anyone? I'll make the stack wider.
3.
But I want expressions. No, 3 is a number. I want to put values of type date, values of type exp.
So can you say node 3?
Leaf 3 is what I say. Okay. This is a stack of exp. Okay, I'm storing every element that I store in the stack is an exp. So the moment I see left 3, I'll put leaf 3 here. Then I see a left 5, so I process it. I'll put a leaf 5 here. Then I see a left 2, I'll put leaf 2 here. Then I have right null, and I know that the operations act on the two arguments are to the left of the operation, and the first argument, the left argument will be here, right? The left argument is this. When I see right null, my idea is that the two arguments reside on the top of the stack. Okay, the right argument will be here because I have been reading from left to right. Okay, so if I have right null, this is the right argument and that is the left argument. So I need to go one below. So this will be your left argument. This will be your right argument. Except now the left argument and right arguments are not just tokens or whatever, but they are trees. Okay. So at this point, if I see a null, I know that what is the tree that I need now, that I have constructed now, that I should construct now.
Sir, take the first 2 leaves and put a node.
Right. Right. So that's right. So I should remove the top 2 expressions in the stack, construct a node out of them, and then put that new thing on the top of the stack. Okay. So what I should do is I should remove them and put that, so that I will, this should go to, therefore, leaf 3. Here it will be node of leaf 5 null leaf 2. Okay, because this is the left argument, this is the left argument, and that is the right argument. Okay, so this I will put. The next thing I encounter is, as I read the list of, so now I have process still here. The next thing I will encounter is right add. Oh, now I have to add. Again, I do the same thing. I pop the 2 things off the top of the stack, the topmost element is the right argument, the one before that is the left argument. I'll construct a node out of that and push that into the tree. Yes. So finally, I would have a stack. So from this, I'll go here after I process the right add. I'll go node leaf 3 and then add and this whole node of leaf 5 money. Yes, and this is the only thing that I'll put on the top of the stack. Okay, your stack will now be this. Is it clear? And that's it. So now I have reached the end of my input. So I'll say fine. Now lots of things can go wrong. I'm not testing for error checking, etc. here, but I'm just saying that if you give me something in postfix form, then at least it is easy to convert it to an expression like this. Okay, if you give me a correct postfix form, I can give you an expression. Now if you give me a wrong postfix form, then I can't do anything much. Okay, it will go somewhere and I'll try to take something, I'll try to pop an empty stack or whatever, I'll encounter an error somewhere, but I'm not bothering about error checking. I just want to show you the use of a stack. Is it clear how I can use stack to get something non-trivial done? And in the process, I'm also, so putting all this together, I think I already have that file.
Sir, can you just take the previous thing that you wrote
No,
about
sorry.
either?
No.
About sir, can you take the previous slide that you wrote about either A?
Oh, sorry. About what? Previous slide that I wrote about what?
Either AB.
Either AB. Yes. Yeah, either AB or either, no, it's a union type as they call it. Okay, so you put one constructor called left, that is the all values of type A will be there, or you say it's right, you put a tag right and that will be all values of type B.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. So let me go back to my program. And yeah, so basically I want the opposite of this show post. So what I'm doing is I'm decidedly much slower in online lecturing than in lecturing. So now I can define data token to be either I will also say that yeah, so 2x of a list of tokens equals this was the thing that we tried to write earlier, fold from the fold L of yes. So you have a add token function, let's say, starting with empty stacks. How I should import stacks. Okay, I do the add token function starting from the empty stack on the list tokens. Okay, so I just fold L of add token empty. That's all. Okay, now add token is what I want to define. Add token is a function which takes a token. You already have a no. You should take a stack of expressions and you will take a new token and you will add it to the stack. Okay, so add token of right. So no matter what your this thing is, your stack is STK, let us say. And your token is, there are two possibilities for token, right? If it is leaf n, then what do you do? You will just add it to the top of the stack. What is the function to add to the top of a stack?
Push.
Push. Yes, good. So you will just say push. What would you push? Sorry, it's not leaf n, it is left n. You will push leaf n to the top of the stack, to your stack. Okay. What add token? What if your node no, this is token, right? Write operation. Now what do you do? You don't care about error, etc. If you try to pop off an empty stack, it will automatically stop with an error. So basically, you want to say push, okay, node, okay. You want a left expression left, op, expression right, onto stack 2. I'll tell you what stack 2 is. Where no stack L.
The stack L is the popped one. I mean, the first element removed.
I know. The where stack, firstly, you want to look at what is expression right. Expression right is the pop of the stack. Okay. And after you do that, you will have a stack R, I'll call it. This is pop of stack. And expression left is pop of stack R. That's it. So you first remove an expression, that is your, you first remove the element on the top of the stack, that is your right argument. Then again you remove the element on the top of that stack. So so pop of stack R, okay, and then that will give you another expression and another stack. So you want to push the node onto that stack, okay. So you remove two elements and push one element. That is what I am doing. All error handling will be just at the pop level, where it will just return an error. Something goes wrong. So I'm not caring about this here. So this is it. Okay. So right now, final step is that you want to be able to read a string and return a list of tokens. Okay. So that is not too difficult. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay, so what you do is, right. So that function, so you want to convert a string to a bunch of tokens. I'll call it tokenize. Tokenize is a function from string to list of tokens. Again, I will not bother about too much error processing, etc. Tokenize will just no, sorry. So I'll call it two talks, two list of tokens, two talk list. Okay. So two talk list is nothing but of a given string is nothing but you map. So what you do is, I'll assume that you give inputs in a very simple form. You will write any number, give a space or any number of space, and then write another number or whatever, and then you write your operations, and then also you will give any amount of space. Okay. You will never write two operations right next to each other without a space. Okay. I'll assume that you're able to see my screen, right? Two talk list, string, etc. Hello, can someone confirm?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, I'll want to map tokenize on words of string. Words, remember, is a function that will that will take a string and it will return a list of strings. Okay, what is the list of strings? It is all the words, basically things that are separated by white space. White space meaning space, tab, whatever character you use. Anything that is not a readable character, it will cut off the words of that. Okay, so for instance, if you want to know so if you want to see words, type of words, you can see is string to list of string. So words of yes, do you see? Yes, so it will return a list of words. Okay, but I don't know, I might not be very slow today because you need time for all this. But if I am slow, please tell me. Okay, anyway. Right, and what is this tokenize? This tokenize basically converts a string to a token, and the string should represent a single operator or a number. Once I write tokenize, you will know what I mean. Tokenize is the thing that actually converts a string to token, and this is simple. Tokenize of plus is add. Tokenize of minus is sub. Tokenize of star is null. Of slash is okay. And tokenize of anything else, you should interpret it as a number. Okay, and the way to do it is to say that tokenize of string equals read. There is this function called read that will write. So one problem I have, token is either, so I should put write for all these things. And here I will put left, and I'll just say read the string and interpret it as a number. If it cannot be interpreted as an integer, it will give an error. But that's all we want to do. Anything else? So if your input string contains other spurious characters like the letter A, etc., this function will fail. But I'm not bothering about too much error processing. Okay, so this is it. So now you can actually see what it means to convert to token list. 1 second, give me a minute. Oh. Did I define token properly at all? I should not use data, I should use type. Did I define token at all? Yeah, I shouldn't have used data, I should have used type. Because it's just a type synonym for either whatever. Okay, something else is here. Have I not given a type? Right. So this 2x I have not given a type. If I give a type, that will be fine. Sometimes If you use too general functions that are too general, like fold L, etc., you have to give some extra nudge. So this 2exp I want to be string arrow, no, token list arrow, list of tokens to expression. Okay, great. So oh my god, still okay. I know what the problem is.
Sir,
Right. What I need to do is the following. I need to pop. I have a stack. I should pop the top. I should take the top element of the stack. That will, if I do pop, it will give me element comma stack. I should take the first part of it. So actually, the two expression thing is not fold L add talk empty, but first of pop of this thing. Okay. Because once I have done it, I will get a stack of expressions. I'll have to apply pop on that stack. That will give me a pair, the top expression, comma, the remaining stack. Discard the remaining stack, just return the top element. Yes, somebody had a question.
sir, read will change the type, right?
Read will?
Change the type, right?
Yeah, read will change from string to whatever type you specify.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right, so saving this. Yes, Srimati, let me just make sure. Yes, this compiles. Yeah, now ask me your question. Yes.
No, could you just explain 2x like why you changed the code for that?
Yeah. Because see, if I just do this, so first of all, I had to add a type. Otherwise, some fold L, etc. There's some problem. But if I didn't have this fold L add talk empty will add talk will this fold L add talk empty will give me a stack of expressions. What I want is an expression. How do I get an expression from the stack of expression?
Oh, yeah,
The
okay.
one I want is on the top. So I have to do a pop.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. If I do a pop, then, or instead of doing first a pop, I can actually do top of expression. That's also fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is easier. So because I have the thing. Yeah, I'll do top. Is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now I can actually do this thing. Okay. So if I say to talk list of, give me a postfix expression. I'll say 2, 3, 5 plus star. Yeah, this should give me 2 times 3 plus 5. So first of all, it is giving me this. Then I can say 2 expression of it. Why does it give 2 times 3 plus 5? Why does it print it like this rather than printing it like node, leaf, etc.?
Because we have modified the show.
Yes, because I have modified the show. Yes, but you see, if I give 2, 3, 5 plus star, it will interpret it to be this. Yeah, this is nice, right? It's a nice application of stacks. Okay, and you are able to build the expression because of this. So you have a sort of a readable input representation, and this is, you can think of it as a calculator, a very primitive kind of calculator. You are entering strings of this form, 2, 3, 5 plus star, etc. You could even give 22, 34, whatever, and it will give you it will give you the actual expression, and then it will go on to evaluate it also. If you want, you can evaluate it also. And actually, we have developed all this ab initio, but I can actually show you that all this part is okay. So I can actually, there is some postfix.hs. Oh, which even has a fancy this thing. But this is an important thing. What it does is it now does that interact thing, which I talked about. Okay. So this interact will work on a function from string to string. You view the whole input as a string, and then you produce the whole output as a string, except that because Haskell is lazy, everything will work out okay. Inside that function, what you do is you split the input into lines. On each line, you do map of process line. So for every line, you will do a process line function, and then you unlines, and then you put all the lines together as the single output. Okay. So now this process line is it's just this. Okay. So this EXPR is a list of tokens. So what I'm saying is you take the line, convert that to a list of tokens. That is the 2 EXPR line. Convert it what we call 2 token list, and then from the token list you go to expression. Okay, that we call EXP, and then we show the expression as well as the evaluated value of as well as the evaluation of the expression. Is it clear? This is what I'm doing. And now in this function, so if I can go here and say load postfix, and if I say main, it is waiting for me to enter some input. So I can say 234 56 plus star 3 minus. No possible. Oh, because I put a. This is really irritating because now. Okay, no. What I'll do is this. I've gone out of GHCA, which is fine, which is good. Okay, so there is a postfix.in also. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll GHC postfix. So this is compiling it. Okay, so now I can actually do postfix on the input file, and then it will produce an output file. This is how you run it. Okay, I just wanted to show you once, at least how it. This /postfix is the compiled version of postfix, which I got after doing GHC. That -O2 you can ignore now. It is just some optimizations or whatever. I don't even know what optimizations it will use. You can skip that. If you say GHC postfix, it will produce an executable file, which you can run with input from postfix.in and output going to postfix.out. Okay. So if you do this, you will get something in postfix.out. Let us go check what it has. Let us check what postfix.in says. Postfix.in is this. So I have various expressions. 2284// I have. This should be what? Can somebody tell?
11, sir.
11. Yes. What is 22.8/4/?
So that's also 11.
No, that is not 11. That is 22/8.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And then after 22/8 is what? 3, because I am doing div. And 3/4 is 0, because I am again doing div. Okay. So that's what you will see if you look at postfix.out. Yes, you'll see this is 11, that is 0. And somebody asked, no, here I've also optimized stuff so that I don't have extra parentheses. You see, I'm putting parentheses only around here. Why? Because not only do you have to take care of precedence, you also have to take care of associativity. Okay, associativity means all operations are left associative usually. If I write 4 minus 2 plus 1, it means 4 minus 2 first, then plus 1. So the value is 3. But if I want 4 minus 2 plus 1, I have to write it like this. Yeah, so I'm taking care of all that. I've already posted this postfix.hs code on the course page. You can take a look at it to try to understand what is happening. Okay, I'm doing something slightly fancy with the show function. Nothing too difficult. You can try to understand it yourself. Okay, and if you have a problem, ask me in next class. Okay, so yes, I'll try to fix the slides by adding some pictures about expressions and adding explanation about postfix, etc., etc. And I promise to post an exercise by tomorrow, so that you have some practice with input output and also with stacks. And in the next class we have done stacks. In the next class we'll look at queues and more data structures. Okay, Any questions?
So
Yes, yes. please.
can you explain the type of token again? I mean, why is it a type?
It's either int op.
So either is a function. So you could just have
Either is
written
a type constructor. Like just like your stack, either is also a type. Just like stack, maybe, or whatever, either is a type.
So then how do you know to pattern match whether it's left or right when the type is either in both cases?
Yeah. No. How do you? It's not like how do you know?
I mean, how does it compile?
So if you have an input of type maybe, then how do you write a function? You will do a pattern matching, right? You
Yes,
will do
it's
pattern
maybe.
matching based on nothing or just.
Yes, sir. So, but in
Right?
maybe,
Yes.
in maybe the two value constructors, I think, are maybe int and nothing, right?
No, not maybe int. It's just int and nothing.
Oh, yes, sir. Just int and
Just
nothing.
X for an int. Similarly, if I have a type either int op, then the values are left n where n is an integer, or right right x where x is an op.
Oh, so token is just renaming either int.
Yeah, that is just a type.
Okay.
So that's a type rename. I'm just using either, nothing else.
Okay.
This is why originally I had wrongly put it as data, and then I corrected it to type. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Who asked about cutting out on parenthesis? Was it Milan or somebody?
I think it was Anand.
Anand. Oh, what's your full name? Anand Baliwada. Is that? Was it you? Hello. Okay, so anyway, so whoever asked the question, please look at the code in postfix.hs. I think I've uploaded the correct thing, otherwise I'll upload this. That will give you how to actually tweak the where you print parentheses and where you don't print. Yes, Srimati, you had a question.
Yeah, sir. No, I have two. So one is so interact. I'm not able to run it on my GHCI whatever more than once. Like I wrote interact, like whatever you interact
You
reverse.
want to put interact in GHCI itself?
I mean, like tried it on the. So I don't know what.
You don't know if you are okay. So this is a question that even I haven't tried. If you try. Yeah. So let us you tried interact right here, is it? You did something like this.
Yeah, interact reverse or something I did. Yeah, unline.
Unlines, reverse, dot lines. Oh, it doesn't even print out even once.
Yeah, sir.
No, sir, you will have to control T
Yes,
in Mac.
yes.
You will have to like exit the EOF.
Yeah, EOF I'm not able to give something. Okay.
Control D in Mac and Control Z in Windows, but
No,
it's
but
not
inside
actually.
this thing, but I am in some weird setup now. I'm from my iPad on some SSH this thing, etc., etc. So it's a little this thing. Control D usually works. It's fine. So let me try again. I don't need to load anything. So interact, unlines, reverse. No, but if you exit, you are exiting the whole program. That is the point. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. Sorry, I don't know. So, but it will work if you work from GHCA. Yeah, that much I can tell you.
Yeah, but in Windows.
Or if you just say main, but the question is why does main work, but this does not work? Oh, no. I understand the problem. You should say map reverse. Okay. Now let me try it again. Sorry. See, because the function that you write should apply to each line. Once you've done the lines, you should have a function that applies to every line. If you do a reverse, then I'm trying to reverse the whole of the input, which might not work. Okay. So let me try it again. So if I say interact unlines dot map reverse. This means that on every line I will do a reverse. Yes. Yes, it now works. See,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you have to do map.
Yeah,
But
the
now again,
problem
this
was
is the problem that if you want to exit, you will do a control D and it won't work. Control.
The problem in Windows is when I do control Z in Windows, then it exits that interrupt. But then again, when I call this interrupt again, then it's not actually like
Oh, that is because
telling that
check whether
stand
it is
out.
exited. Check whether it exits interact alone or the GHCA itself. You see that now
No, it doesn't.
It might be that it
doesn't
doesn't
exit the GHCI. It exits only
yeah,
the
then you have to again invoke GHCA. No, so therefore, I think this interacting, this is mostly for when you are outside GHCA. Now, if I write my own program, then it will work properly. Suppose I go back here. Suppose I go back here and say temp.hs. Okay, here I am just saying main. Main is just interact of unlines of map reverse of. And let's say I close this. I'm done with main. That's all there is to there. Now I come here and I say GHC temp. Okay, now it compiles properly. If you see what all files of the form temp I have, you will see that there is a temp with red color. Do you see that?
Yes.
That's an executable. So now I can just say, sorry, let me make some space. Yeah. So now I can do this temp. Now I can do this. And I can do control D here. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay, what is the other question I had?
So system, system.random. Do you have to like download it or something? I mean, do we need it?
Right. You need to download. So what you would need to do is you need to do. I'll tell you what you need to do. Cabal install. Write it down somewhere. Cabal install lib random.
Lib.
Lib minus lib.
Oh, okay.
Install it as a library, I think. Yeah. So if you do this, in my case, it will say it's already installed. Up to date, it says. Yeah. So note this down. Cabal install minus lib random. That will automatically install. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
Is there any specific directory from which you have to do this Cabal install?
No, Cabal install you can do from anywhere because it will install it in its own directory only. It will not install in programs or whatever. It will actually install it in tilde/.cabal.
Okay.
GHC something.
So this will work on the superior operating system also?
This will work on the
Windows, sir.
Yeah, sure. It will work on Windows. Yes.
Okay.
I assume it will work on Windows from the PowerShell. I don't know. So just check. Yeah. So yeah. So okay, great. See you then. Yeah. Have a nice evening. So see you on Thursday with more stuff. I'll definitely give you one more assignment so that you have practice with all this. Okay. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Stop sharing and
Thank you, sir.
yeah.